Comic-Con Horror Highlights is presented by The Evil Within, the new survival horror game from Shinji Mikami, available October 14th.
Why? Welcome back, everybody. iGen Live from Comic-Con, brought to you by The Evil Within. These are your Comic-Con Horror Highlights. My name is Damon Hatfield. I'm joined by Eric Goldman, Brian Altano.
What's up?
What's going on with horror at the show?
I mean, I just witnessed a murder, so we can
yes.
Horrifying.
And I'm reincarnated, and I will seek vengeance. Yeah,
It's quick.
yeah. Horror this time. Movies, not so much representing this time.
Yeah, nothing like the Conjuring, Paranormal Activity, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
But
that stuff. There's, we had Daniel Radcliffe on yesterday for Horns, which is more of a hybrid movie. It's kind of a very trippy thing unto itself, a little bit of dark humor. Certainly is a horror element about a guy growing horns and kind of having devil-like powers, but not a straight-up horror movie.
I see. Yeah.
But TV,
Yeah.
and it's really directly. The Walking Dead is here, and I think we're seeing the results of The Walking Dead's success. That we're getting a lot more horror on television in general.
Sure. Yeah. So what they showed a trailer for season 5?
Yeah,
Walking
they
Dead?
did,
Yeah.
and it was great. I will say this was a really, really cool trailer, really intense, big. There's an explosion, a fireball explosion with several walkers being hurtled forward.
Yeah.
It looked really exciting.
They did this amazing job of on The Walking Dead. I sometimes forget that it's a show about the dead walking the earth, killing people.
Right.
Like a few minutes go by where these dramatic human interactions are happening and people are murdering each other, and then something pops out and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. This is also terrifying constantly. I think TV is this amazing medium for this stuff now. Like growing up, we had sort of tricklings of horror shows. Like there was Tales from the Crypt. There was some episodes of Twilight Zone were terrifying,
Right.
But now to see this medium as a place where we can tell a story that's actually scary over the course of 10 hours a season or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really great. It's really cool to see.
The examples you give are really telling because they're great shows, but they were complete anthology shows. Each week different thing. No one. I was just at a TV press event, the TCAs, where the president of FX said, frankly, he always worried about horror as an ongoing thing. How would it work? Would it feel like empty characters if it felt like a slash movie a week? And that Walking Dead basically gave them the confidence to do The Strain, which we can talk about more in a minute. And so you're seeing shows that are embracing that ongoing idea. We can be creepy. I should mention Supernatural too, which I know is also kind of like, a different little bit of an adventure show, but certainly gets pretty graphic and intense, and is coming here it's going into its 10th season, and has been here for many, many years, representing horror in its own way.
You mentioned The Strain.
Yeah.
This new Guillermo del Toro TV show. That's premiered, right?
It premiered, it's like week 4 of The Strain, I think. But they have a 2-hour panel on Sunday, which is very rare because they're going to show an entire new episode and then followed by a full. But usually, if they show an entire episode, that means we get like 10 minutes with the cast. But this time, they're going to do a full panel with Guillermo. And the cast. It's a great cast. Corey Stoll from House of Cards, who's also apparently an Ant-Man. I think he just confirmed that. And that was the show that John Landgraf from FX is like, Walking Dead was success, and it made me think, what can we do? And Del Toro, he developed The Strain to be a TV show, but he couldn't get anyone to make it. I think because it was before Walking Dead.
It was before Walking Dead. It was before these sort of this serialized content, and it was also, I think it was many years ago on television. You really couldn't get that gory.
No.
Right? And now you can get you can just get disgusting.
They're
on
getting
TV.
away with a lot. On
Hannibal.
Hannibal.
Hannibal is just one of those shows. I mean, you want to talk about horror shows. Like I marathoned through a season of Hannibal, and then I went to a butcher shop in my neighborhood to pick up lunch, and I couldn't do it. I walked in and I walked out, and I was just like, this is too much for me. But yeah, these shows they're getting away with murder.
Yes,
literally.
Multiple murder. Yeah.
Not literally. Close enough.
That we know of.
That we know of.
Literal fake murder.
It'd be a good place to hide a real murder as a horror TV show. And it's just really cool to see just how disgusting and violent and gory they're getting.
Yeah, I mean, and Hannibal was coming on. I mean, we saw the cynicism on our site with our readers saying, it's on NBC, man. It's going to be so tame. They're not going to be able to do what they can do. And I'd argue Hannibal's probably the goriest show on TV.
Yeah, maybe.
And I do think, Game
of Thrones is pretty gory.
Yeah, it is. But Walking Dead has proven that a mainstream audience, Walking Dead is one of the most successful shows on TV. A mainstream audience will sit down, sometimes people who would never go to a horror movie, which is a whole interesting psychology, they will sit down in front of their TV each week and watch some really freaking gross stuff happen. You know?
We have a horrifying question from one of our viewers on Facebook here. Clint Howard asks, what is the scariest nightmare you've ever had? Oh, my God.
Oh, God. Can I answer this?
Yeah.
It's being late for a test in high school 20 years after I'm done with high school.
So I still have dreams like that. I don't know if I consider them horror dreams, but I do have those types of dreams where I'm like, I'm in college and it's been like the whole semester has gone by and I've never gone to class.
Yeah.
And now finals are coming up and I have to go take the test and I've never been to a single class.
So that's a good lesson for our younger audience. Like that haunts you forever.
Yeah, right. It's pretty scary.
I actually weirdly have an answer for this I wouldn't have had like 3 weeks ago because I had a nightmare and it was really intense that there was literally a monster in my closet type thing or some sort of shape in my closet. And in the dream I had lost my voice and I was trying to scream, guys. And my wife had to wake me. She goes, you're yelling in your street. You're like, guys. So yeah, that never happened to me.
Those are the scariest dreams where you're like, screaming for help and nothing happens. Yes.
But apparently when I went back to sleep, we got the bad guy. Like it ended okay.
Oh, you were able to return?
Yeah, I returned to it.
Serialized.
I watched a lot of Freddy movies, so I went back.
It's appointment-based streaming.
That's right.
I do sometimes have dreams where I'm running. I have to run away from something. There's a threat, but I can only run in slow motion.
Yeah, your legs are
trying to
jelly.
get away.
That's a classic.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to have my dreams analyzed. American Horror Story is coming to the show for the first time.
It's surprising that they never made it here before, and they were asked about it a lot. And Ryan Murphy's like, we want to go. I don't know why they never came before, but going into season 4, Freak Show, American Horror Story Freak Show, which obviously has this carnival thing. Sarah Paulson did reveal a photo that she's playing a two-headed woman in this one.
What?
Yeah, we don't know.
The show's really messed up.
That's awesome.
So it'd be cool that they're coming at all. The way that they framed it is a little tricky because they called it an American Horror Story Coven panel, which was last year's series. It's coming on Blu-ray. But here's the thing. They've been filming for about a week and a half, Freak Show, and Michael Chiklis, who's joining the show.
Vic Mackey, everybody.
Vic Mackey returning to FX. He's on the panel. So obviously they're not going to only talk about last season.
Yeah.
I think we'll see the first footage from Freak Show debut tonight. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love what they're doing with that show. Mm-hmm. You know, just being able to jump themes and worlds.
And using a lot of the same cast.
Yeah. It's really clever. It's something you can only really do with TV. I think a movie that looked like that would be really weird to people. Yeah. But going to sit down and being like, we're in an insane asylum. We're in like the haunted house of the first one. I love watching them jump around like that.
And it's been really influential on TV, if you see, because now you've got Fargo and True Detective and other shows that are doing the we're a different story every year thing. American Horror Story really helped bring that to us.
Yeah.
The movie equivalent is maybe Wes Anderson. We have the same cast every time, just with a different story.
That's true. That's actually
the American
really
Horror Story players.
Yeah.
And I think people really embrace it, and it's great because it means you can kill whoever you want. You can take huge stars and kill them off because don't worry, Jessica Lange will be back next season playing a different role.
Yeah, for sure. Looking around the show, it seems like some networks are trying to make witches a thing. Trying to make witches happen.
I will plug the fact that I'm moderating the Salem panel later today. But there's Witches of East End, which is one of those shows that, it's not a dark horror show, but it has a following. And you also have Salem. So it does seem, and we just talked about, we talked about American Horror Story, which did did Coven last year. Mm-hmm. So it does seem like witches, are witches the new zombies? I don't know.
I think they're trying to make it happen. I don't know if it's going to happen.
That's going to be an uphill battle, I think.
Yeah,
they'll try, but there's a lot of stuff associated with witches, which is just, it's like the broom and the cat and the hat and the nose with the warts on it. Like none of that's really scary or cool or anything like that. But I mean, if it's going to change, it's going to change here and now.
And I think I go back to Supernatural, which can get surprisingly graphic itself. That you do kind of have the thing of people who do spells and incantations, but it can get pretty gnarly. I mean, even Buffy, it's like a spell that can sort of tear someone's skin off. Sure. So I think if you take it to that level, because you're right, you can't do the classic witch, because people will laugh that off.
We have another question from one of our viewers here on Facebook. This is from Jimmy McIntosh. That's a great name. What horror franchise would you want to see come back?
I will say, I tweeted the other day, I miss Freddy Krueger. So, who had a TV show called Freddy's Nightmares that was not a good show, but
I totally forgot about that. Probably for good measure.
But that was like, Freddy wasn't really on it, right? He was like a Tales from the Crypt.
He was the Crypt Keeper, but they did like 3 episodes that were about Freddy.
Yeah. I know they remade the original Friday the 13th, but I didn't think it was that great. I would love to see them like make a new Friday the 13th with like a good director that sort of like treats it with respect.
Yeah.
Well, there are, actually, you just reminded me of two things we should mention, which is Friday the 13th is going to have its 13th movie next year.
Right. Which might be a found footage thing.
Which is, I'm concerned too. Yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah. Who keeps finding all this footage?
I know. But then also, they announced a Friday the 13th TV series that Sean Cunningham, who directed the original, will produce and will involve Jason in some capacity and will take place in multiple time eras. So it sounds like it might be like the 50s and now and Camp Crystal Lake. Yeah.
My favorite movie of all time, or horror movie of all time, is The Thing. So I know we had The Thing again recently, but right. So it's like I would love to see something done with that was good.
Yeah. But the other thing that I'm glad you sparked me to thinking about a franchise returning with, or a reader did, is the fact that yesterday there was an announcement that Evil Dead, the TV series, is happening.
I didn't hear
Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are producing it and helping develop it, and so we don't know.
Do we know anything about the premise or anything?
No, we don't. So of course, everyone's like, "Will Campbell be in it? Will he cameo in it? How will it work?" But they did a kind of a surprise announcement yesterday.
So True Blood's not at the show.
No, it is. True Blood.
True Blood is here.
It's first final time. True Blood has maybe 4 or 5 weeks left.
Yeah.
So this is this will be. In fact, that panel is happening in about an hour. So that's I think it will definitely be a sort of farewell panel. Just looking back at the show.
Unless they come next year to pimp the Blu-rays and DVDs.
Yeah,
that can happen as well.
Or the spin-offs.
right.
Sure something will
Truer
happen.
Blood.
It doesn't seem like that'll just. You seem upset about this.
No, I was waiting for you to see.
You want more? No, I think that this won't just end with where we are with True Blood now, right?
So?
There's so many characters in the show. There's so many things to do in that world. I have a feeling there'll be something that comes from it. Maybe a movie. And I'm not confirming anything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that there's enough.
You can neither confirm nor deny.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
I think they might have to take a rest though, because I think a lot of people don't think it's as strong as
I'm actually not crazy about the final season so far.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
One more question from one of our viewers on Facebook here. Michael asks, Freddy vs. Jason was awesome. What would be the ultimate horror crossover?
Man.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
That was the one we all want. I mean, that was like, not including the classic Frankenstein and Dracula, like Freddy vs. Jason of like the recent, when I say recent, I mean last 30 years. So I don't know. Like there was, there was talk. They almost did Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash.
Yeah, I remember that.
They did it as a comic book. Like they did what was going to be the story. The guy who wrote the screenplay did his comic book.
I wish they could do a good Aliens vs. Predator.
I was just going to say that. That's
point.
exactly it. Because we grew up reading those comics. We had those action figures.
I love the Dark Horse comics.
The world was amazing, and then we got those movies that were just like back to back. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I think there's still a chance to return to that. I actually liked most of what happened in Predators from Robert Rodriguez, and I think there's room. I like what's happening with the new Alien game. So I think there's still stuff there to work with. So I'd like to see that stuff come back together.
No, that's a great point. On the show floor at the Sideshow booth, who always have these amazing statues and figures, is a big statue of the Predator with his pop-out claws going through an alien head. Oh. And it's like, oh man, and then I don't want to think about those bad movies because I love the comic books too. And lots you could do there.
What else? Anything we're missing horror from the show here?
That's the main thing. I mean, it's we said it before, but it really is like what Walking Dead begat, and I think I'm curious to see what happens next. One thing I do want to mention about The Strain is that The Strain is doing a cool hybrid thing, which is we've got Walking Dead, which is an ongoing show that could go on for years and years, and we've got American Horror Story with the anthology. The Strain is intended to be 3 to 5 seasons. Like FX is agreeing ahead of time, we're adapting the trilogy, and we're not going to stretch it out. We are willing to tell the audience that this will have an ending within a few years, which is cool because in the past it was like networks were all about milking it. But FX is very kind of wanting to embrace that idea that some shows, I once talked to the president, of FX, he's like, hey, some shows, 3 seasons is what you need to tell the story, and we don't want to say we won't do that because we want 8 seasons of the show.
Yeah.
So I think The Strain, willing to do that is a very cool move.
I actually get incredibly confident hearing stuff like that before I get into a TV show.
Right, it helps.
Because sometimes 2 things happen. Either you go in, 10 episodes go down, and then it disappears forever, and you're like, what happened? There's no ending. Or you have like a Dexter situation, which goes on for 3 seasons, possibly too many, right?
For sure. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Those are your Comic-Con horror highlights. Stay tuned. We have much more for you on day 3 of IGN Live from Comic-Con right after these messages.